In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to the Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. Welcome, viewers and listeners. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode, where we will explore and navigate through our guest's unique journey in the real estate industry. We welcome to the Agent Brew Alexander Calle, CEO and founder of the JC Luxury team, part of SERHANT, New Jersey. Welcome, Alexander. How are you?
Eric, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you are a first for the podcast in the fact that you're the first person I met through Realty Co. that is joining our podcast. So welcome, and thank you for inviting Kevin and I last week to your office to present what Realty Co. has to offer.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you having me here. Excited to be here and share a little bit of my story.
All right. So let's start with that. Can you give us your elevator pitch, basically the snapshot of who you and your business are today? And then we'll walk back and start at the beginning after that snapshot.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Alexander Calle. I run one of the top luxury real estate teams on the New Jersey waterfront. We do boutique luxury new development. We do mid-rise, high-rise leasing, and we also sell beautiful restored townhomes. That is our bread and butter. So that's a quick snapshot of our business. And I've been in the Jersey City market for about 8 years now. Okay.
And how large is your team?
Wow. Right now we're roughly 11 agents. We started off just me, right? I brought on one agent, Nick, and then we slowly grew. I want to say like 2 agents every 2 months. And this was about 4 years ago. And we got to over 20 agents. And then I changed the operation. I was like, you know what? I want to go leaner. So right now we have a pretty lean system.
Oh, that's great. So let's back up. Let's start. Where did you grow up? And when did you start real estate?
Wow. I grew up in Brooklyn. New York. And Brooklyn it's still inside of me. I'm in New Jersey, but you take me out of Brooklyn, you can't take the Brooklyn out of me, you know? But I think that's why I like North Jersey so much. It's a lot of the same personalities, same characters, and sometimes the same landscapes. You know, Hoboken, Jersey City gives you that urban feel. But I like to meet a lot of personalities, and that's why I like to work in an urban environment. Been doing this now for 8 years. Got into real estate after my mother, she lost her job, and I felt like I was in a position to help. And I was either going to make an excuse as to why I didn't get to where I wanted to be in life, or I was going to take the reins and make that story myself. So, you know, I stood up for myself and my family, and that's how I got into this 8 years ago. I'm like, where can I make some quick money? And I joined real estate, and I was absolutely wrong about making quick money. You do not make quick money in real estate, but it's worked out.
So your mother was the procuring cause to get you into real estate. I'm curious, what did you do prior?
I was in college when I realized I wanted to do real estate. So prior to this, I had a paid internship working for a marketing company, an ad tech marketing company, working on their Facebook ads and making posts on Twitter. But it was mostly Facebook and Instagram. So I came from that background of branding. That's how my mind worked. That's how I was raised. I was raised on, you know, the iPhone. And I thought to myself, I said, hey, why? It all sort of clicked. I was like, I'm trying to sell this brand. I was like, why don't I sell myself as a brand? And that's when I aligned with real estate. I had a mentor at Monmouth University where I was going, and he was like, hey, Alex, what do you think about sales? I was like, selling what? Stickers? My mom's, she's from Dominican Republic. My father's from Ecuador. When you sell something, that means you're taking advantage of someone. You know, I had to be a doctor. I had to be an architect, something that sounds good and fancy. That's what I had to be. You know, they didn't understand sales. So my first reaction was, I'm not really someone that takes advantage of someone else. And he was like, hey, that's not what sales is. Why don't you shadow this real estate agent that sold me my house. So if that's what you recommend, you're my mentor, I'll do it. So I shadowed this real estate agent, and that's when I learned about what being a real estate agent is. And I saw the lifestyle of this realtor. His name's Joe Oz. Was one of the top agents out in Asbury Park at the time with Keller Williams. And I learned from him within a 1 to 2 hour period. I saw people cold calling. I saw his office. He was stop and go, picking up the phone. I was like, I can do this. I can be great at this. And I applied for real estate school the next day.
Interesting. And so that first year, were you able to meet clients? Were you, really working the life of a real estate agent, or were you stuck behind, the desk or doing office work?
I think for anyone in their first year, you have to do the work that no one else wants to do. That's where you find the opportunity. I was taking the craziest rental leads, a $1,600 rental lead, that what may or may not have been qualified. I was still learning how to qualify people based off of motivation, et cetera. So I was just taking whatever I could, having as many conversations as I could, failing forward as quickly as I could. And I think that's what helped me, so I was very active, hands-on. I'm a doer, go. And that's what helped me. So that's where I found success. I found success in failing quickly.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. What's even better is that you realized it at the time, right? So you weren't afraid, like most people have that fear, and you just kept working it until you found something that worked. Through your first year or two, you focused on rentals. Did you stay with the same person, or were you switching companies at that time? When did you really start to come into your own and realize that you had bigger dreams?
Yeah. So I was with Keller Williams for the first 5 years of my career. So I wanted to be stable in one place, and I'm a pretty loyal person, so me jumping around a lot, it didn't feel right. So I was there for 5 years, but I started to realize I was outgrowing the office that I was in. I needed more support with new development sales, and it just didn't exist there. So I think there comes a time, I think maybe in most people's career, where they're looking for the next version of themselves. And I found that next version of myself through trying to start my own brokerage. So that's what I did after roughly 5 years. Started a boutique firm. Our office was based out of Hoboken in Jersey City, and I ran with that.
And that was JC Luxury, correct?
JC Luxury, yes.
With that wonderful
and people
logo,
still know us by
which
that.
Looks just like you.
Yes. The personal branding piece. Never let that go. That's what we do. We're a marketing company that specializes in real estate. That's how I think about it.
So you really found the secret sauce early on in your career, quite frankly, a lot sooner than many other agents do. How were you able to identify that scalable portion? As far as, were you working the same markets each time? Were you realizing, as far as, was it your marketing component that was constantly feeding you new leads and new clients?
Something that I started to recognize early on is, right, do I want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do I want to be a small fish in a big pond, right? So I started to navigate the landscape of New Jersey, and I saw opportunity in Jersey City and even in Hoboken. And I thought to myself, when I think of these cities, I don't really think of anyone's name when it comes to real estate. Why don't I become the name on the waterfront there, right? So I decided to go deep, because I think that's where brand recognition and personal branding can really develop and grow exponentially. If I'm too wide, if I'm across too many counties or too many cities, I'm just a guy or a team who does a couple deals in that neighborhood, in this neighborhood. I wanted to take over a specific portion, and then you can go to the next place, perhaps. That's the way my mind thought. Yes. So my baby was Jersey City to start off with, because of the diverse landscape of being able to build high rises on the waterfront, but you still have these beautiful brownstones further into downtown in Bergen, Lafayette, et cetera. So I found that I had an array of different properties and to deal with.
I mean, it's quite impressive at such a young age, one, but number two, with so few years behind you in the industry, for you to be doing so much new development. So kudos to you. And how would you, what would you give your credit to that? Is it just relationships that you had already built, or were these relationships that you found early on? And besides that, how did you also use technology to further your new deb sales?
Absolutely. So I cold called a lot for rent by owners. That's where I saw a lot of success because those landlords eventually wanted to sell. Of course, for sale by owners, some expired listings, but I was on the phone a lot and getting in front of as many people as possible. So I didn't know anyone in Jersey City. I was a blank slate. I'm from Brooklyn, and the only reason why I was in New Jersey was because my family had decided to move from Brooklyn to New Jersey when I was in high school. So I didn't really have a community or friend group out here. So I started blank slate, cold calling, and using social media. Instagram was like that was my best friend. Whenever I was out in town, I wanted to brand myself as like the person who knew everything about Jersey City. You wanted to go to a coffee shop? Well, guess what? I'm over here at Choco Pond, French coffee shop, great coffee, great croissants. You were interested in Italian food? Hey, guess what? I just came here. So I was posting about the city, creating awareness about the city. And through that, I created awareness about my brand. And I became like a local figure in Jersey City.
You became a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. Really leveraging what tools we have in the marketplace for each market and then just running with it. Over the years, would you say, have you had a couple wins that you're very proud of? And why are they a moment of pride for you?
It's a great question. Someone could look at a huge closing and say, wow, that must have been your biggest win. But I think the biggest win for me is the one that it touched me the deepest emotionally. And that was probably my first big deal where I was able to take a deep breath of air, show my family that what I was doing was paying off. I remember my first $1 million deal ever, 3-family in Jersey City, $1.38 million. I was just door knocking properties that I saw contractors in, and I door knocked the contractor, said, hey, I want to help this owner out. Are they looking to rent or sell? He said, I'm not at liberty to share the number. I said, okay. I left. I came back 2 days later. I said, hey, I'm back. I would love to help this owner out. He said, I'm sorry, Alex, I'm not at liberty to share. I said, hey, why do you do what you do? And he told me, I do what I do for my family. I said, to put food on your table. He said, yes. And I said, well, I'm here to do the exact same thing. I'm here to provide value the way you're providing value to the owner. If you can share the owner's number, I'd really appreciate that because I'm only here to see if I can help. And through that, if I can make some money and help my family out, then that's God's path. He loved that. He gave me the phone number. I called the owner. I leased out the building for her, the 3 units. Then I ended up selling the building for her. And it happened so quickly, all cash buyer from Japan, 30-day close. And it was in that it felt surreal, but it was in that moment that I got the check. I showed my mom. She didn't realize someone could make, $25,000, $35,000 in 30 days. That idea, it wasn't a thing. So I opened up. I saw like decades of beliefs being changed in a moment. And for me, that was extremely powerful. And that was one of the deepest moments for me in this business.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. Would you say you've had any transformational losses that have really, changed the way you look at the industry, look at yourself, and that even though it was a loss, you made it a win?
Oh, yeah. The losses, they cut, I'm extremely competitive. I'm a very competitive person. I played baseball growing up. And, so I just have that in me. And that's how I was raised. So I always want to win. And there was, the biggest pitch I ever had, over $10 million, single family home. And I just wasn't equipped at the time. I didn't have the leadership behind me or the systems behind me at the time to pitch at that level. And that's actually when I made my change to work with Ryan Serhant at SERHANT. But it was that loss. I was like, never again. I'm going to make this the reason why I take my business and take myself to the next level. And so that's what I did. I don't like to lose and then sit on it. If I'm going to lose, there's going to be a reason behind it, right? Like I'm going to make it, it's something bad that happens, right? But I'm going to make it a good thing. And that's what I did.
Good for you. That's great. Any passions outside of real estate? What do you do to blow off steam?
I really enjoy being active. I started this thing where I told myself at the beginning of this year, every day I'm going to figure out a way to sweat, right? So I really enjoy running, clears my mind. I enjoy playing tennis. I grew up playing baseball. Pickleball is fantastic. I love playing pickleball. So I would say within those three sports, baseball I really don't do too often because it's tough to play like by yourself. You need someone else for it, or more than one person, right? But run, I could run by myself. Tennis, maybe one more person. Same thing with pickleball. But that allows me to just operate extremely efficiently in my everyday life. And I realize I'm not as happy if I'm not active and I don't feel like the endorphins aren't running, they're on my body. So my hobbies are all tied to wellness, like me feeling good about where I'm at. And
Understood. So would you say you have yourself on a pretty regular schedule throughout the week or each from week to week that you can just have one set schedule and then grind that and then not make too many changes so that you're always your body becomes accustomed to that routine?
You see, Eric, that's everyone has their challenges. That's what I'm figuring out right now. Real estate is like the wild, wild west. If something pops up here, you got to change this here. And the truth is like this, right? Like working out and sweating, doesn't matter how I get it in. I have to get it in, gym, whatever. That's my keystone habit. It needs to get done in the morning. If it's not getting done in the morning with the least amount of distractions, I leave it up to chance. So I'm doing my best to win the evening. So I win the morning and I'm not leaving it up to chance. So that's like my current challenge right now, making sure that I'm always getting it done early.
If I recall, I think Ryan gets up at maybe 4:30 or 5 every morning just so he can get that workout in. And so perhaps maybe that will be in your future as well. We like to play the gratitude game here at the Agent Brew, and that's really rose, thorn, bud, but we like to have a little coffee infusion. So we start with the aroma, which is like the invigorating aroma of freshly brewing coffee in the morning. What is a win for you at the moment, or what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I love that. I just touched on that. I'm so competitive. It's almost fear-based.
It's your driver.
Yeah, it's almost the idea that someone is outworking me. They're working on that pitch that I know I need to be working on shortly, and they're getting ahead of me because I know I'm not the only one pitching that project, right? Like the idea of, and I have, in my mind, choosing your enemies wisely, right? Like in my mind, I have my enemies, right, in the business. I know there's enough money for everyone to go around, but I have my enemies and I make sure that I want to be outworking them. So when it's time for me to get up in the morning, the fear that they're getting one step ahead gets me up. And that's my driver. That's what motivates me right now.
Great. So then we look at the brew, like the second rose, that first cup of coffee where you have a deeper joy or satisfaction. One might say, what is your why?
My family.
Okay.
My family's my why. Yeah, there's a deep emotional connection with my family, my mother, my father, my sisters, and I think we're an immigrant family. I'm first generation. My mom's from Dominican Republic. My father's from Ecuador, right? And I think for every immigrant family, there's like the one, right? And it's the person who ends up, reaching that height of wealth or whatever success looks like, right? That first person to break through. And right now, it's like my family's rooting for me to be that person, so I can't let them down, and there's a deep emotional connection, things in my life where I felt like I sold myself short. Maybe it was baseball. I felt like I could have tried harder and taken that further. And it's those failures that we learn from. So I take that with me. And my job here is to provide for my family provide them with as many opportunities as possible, provide myself with as many opportunities as possible so we can all win together and inspire them and inspire. I have 9 nieces and nephews. They all look up to me.
If we move on to then the thorn, which is basically the coffee grinds. Nobody likes cleaning up the coffee grinds. They end up on the floor. So is there anything that causes you frustration or is an obstacle in your mind currently?
I guess a thorn that I have, maybe I'll talk about a thorn in the business. It's when I'm doing a deal with someone and it's more about we're not working collaboratively, right? What I've done well in this business so far is when I'm working with another agent, we're a team. Yeah, we might be at a different brokerage. Yes, you might be negotiating the best interest of your client, and the same for me. But we're really here to get our clients past their own egos, and we're hired to make a deal. So when an agent doesn't want to work collaboratively or meet me halfway, I think that's a thorn, and having to educate them on that I'm very patient, and I'll work on it. But that's a thorn that I deal with probably every week.
Understood and completely agree. I think we've all been there. To finish up the gratitude game, the bud, the fresh beans, looking forward to something that great is about to happen or a project that you're about to say launch. What's in your horizon?
What I'm most excited about is what's happening right now. That is what I'm most excited about. Like appreciating this moment here, speaking with you, right? I think it's so easy in this business to think about the next deal and the next deal and what's next. And then we get overwhelmed and anxious. And really what's been helping me succeed in this business recently is being present in the moment, tackling and focusing on what I'm doing here right now. It allows me to get deeper in my thoughts and maybe connect ideas that I wouldn't have before. And then that's how deals get done. I'll think of a client from here, thinking about this deal, and I'll make a connection somewhere else and I get something else done. So really for me, what I'm most excited about right now is being present with all the work that I'm doing. I mean, working with Ryan is extremely exciting. There's a lot of projects that we will be working on together. But I know that's coming. It's not like it's like it's written in stone. I know this is going to be a fantastic year. It'll have its challenges for sure. I'm excited to take that all on. So.
Well, you certainly have the great mindset and positive attitude to achieve it, right? Because first you must believe to achieve. And, to wrap up, this is my favorite part of the show. This is where we ask you, if you could give your younger agent self a piece of advice, what would it be, Alexander?
If I could give my younger self a piece of advice, 2 things. Number 1, it's not that serious. All right. It's really not that serious. Whatever you're going through, right? I have a tattoo on my leg. It says Memento Mori. It's Latin for remember that you must die. And that sort of keeps things into perspective, like that. This horrific thing that you're going through, like you still have your life. You still have another opportunity, which is the next minute, the next day, whatever it is, and you'll get through it. Sometimes time is the answer. So it's not that serious. You're going to get through it. Just work on yourself. Focus on being present. Second piece of advice I'd give is, although I wouldn't change it, but if I was talking to myself, my younger self, I'd say, hey man, the money that you have, save more, save more of it. I got into this business very young, and you get big commission checks.
May I ask what age?
19, 20 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very young.
Yeah. So I'm 28 right now. I turned 28 in July.
You've achieved a lot for a small amount of time and for your age. So congratulations.
I appreciate that, Eric. Thanks. But yeah, save some money. But honestly, you got to go through spending money to understand sometimes, how you want to spend it. I know my personality. Like I wouldn't change a thing. I had great times, and I did save money and put it in the right places at the same time. But I was quite the character. So.
I agree. We all have to learn that tough lesson. It's fun. I went through it myself, and it's nice to be on the other side of that now. So thank you so much for coming on, Alexander. It's been such a pleasure having you here. And again, we thank you for inviting Realty Co. into your office last week. We look forward to a very fruitful friendship and relationship. So thanks for coming to the Agent Brew.
Eric, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by RealtyCo. RealtyCo is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.